Chapter 10. Drowning in Exertion. The morning sun shone through the window. Zelda winced, though it wasn't caused by the brightness. She ached. Everything ached. It was a throbbing pain constantly pulsing throughout her body in time with every heartbeat, each muscle screaming in agony, unable to be ignored. With a groan, Zelda rolled over in bed, instantly regretting her decision when pain flared in every muscle. Despite this, the will to move grew stronger than the one requesting to stay put because the moment she opened her eyes, she realized she was the only one in bed. Ignoring the ache in her muscles, she pushed herself up, looking around the loft in a failed attempt to locate Link. She was sure he had grown a little more comfortable with sharing the bed with her, even if he was still hesitant to get in. There was little belief that he would just up and sleep in the dirt again, for even he knew she would throw a fit if he had. She remembered the day before when he was nowhere to be found. He had left the bed early to chop wood. Was this a similar case? Before she could invent any more reasons for Link to be absent, a delicious aroma wafted toward her from downstairs. It smelled so good she couldn't help but move to determine just what it was. Gingerly, she slid to the edge of the bed, each movement pure torture, and lowered her feet to the floor. With a slow, agonizing grunt, she stood and shuffled to the wooden railing of the loft. Placing her palms on the wood, she peered down to the lower level, where she saw Link sitting at the table with 2 dishes of food prepared. Trying to hide her discomfort, she called down to him.
Is that breakfast I see?
It sure is. Come down and eat.
Zelda noticed a long piece of wood in one of his hands and a knife in the other. It looked as though he was shaving off the bark.
What are you doing?
Shaving.
At the table where all the food happens to be.
It's not getting in the food, I promise.
How do you know?
I'm being careful.
Careful enough to know nothing is getting into our meal.
Careful enough to know nothing is getting in our meal.
But what about the floor? There's a mess of wood shavings now. Do you plan to clean it up?
You're stalling.
Link looked up from his work to meet Zelda's eyes.
You're sore, aren't you?
Extremely. I never knew such an ache could feel so harsh. I feel sore in areas I didn't know could be. I feel as though I can barely move my arms.
Link chuckled, returning his focus to his project.
You have to move around. It'll only get worse if you don't. Come downstairs.
With a groan, Zelda looked down at the lengthy loft, every step of the staircase, and the space between the last step and the table. She felt exhausted with the little she had moved already, yet, if what Link said was true, she didn't want to experience pain even worse than this. Wincing, she pushed herself off the railing and began her trek across the loft. Each step felt heavy, her legs slightly trembling each time they moved. It was even worse when descending the stairs. Each movement was agony, her legs threatening to give out with every step. Eventually, she made it to the final step and across the first level, then collapsed into her chair as she lost control of her legs. Link chuckled even more, watching as she painfully reached for her dish.
What are you laughing at?
Nothing. That meal should help. It's steamed fruit cooked with hearty durians. It should help heal your muscles a bit.
Thank you.
She frowned at him, but began to eat. While she acted as though she was displeased with his teasing, she secretly adored it. Watching him calmly crafting with a relaxed expression, sitting on the other end of the table as they ate, both of them at peace. It was a lovely experience. After a few bites, she noticed Link's food just sitting.
You haven't touched your food.
Oh, I ate already. A few bowls, actually. This is here just in case I decide to have a little bit more before we start our day.
You're such a glutton. It'd be nice if you eat with me, though. I quite enjoyed eating with you in the grass yesterday morning. It was a nice way to begin the day.
Maybe, but I'm still working on this.
You are, but is it so much to ask that you put it down for just a few minutes? I like our little moments like this.
Link's pointed ears twitched at the sound of this. He looked up from his shaving and across the table at Zelda, who gave him a pleading look.
Please? I'm giving you an excuse to gorge on more food. Is that not good enough?
Link stared at her, not answering immediately. Zelda could tell by his eyes that he had a response, yet, by the faint blush of his cheeks, it was clear he had chosen not to voice his thoughts. Instead, he leaned the long piece of wood against the edge of the table, placed the knife on the table's surface, and began to eat from the bowl in front of him. While it was certainly bad manners to have tools and woodwork around their food, Zelda decided it was best to let it slide this time. Happy they were now eating together, she took a few more bites of the mouth-watering food. While eating, she watched as Link stuffed his face, knowing he had been holding back since she had joined him.
What is it you're making? Will you tell me now?
Nope.
Why not? You refused to tell me yesterday because you wanted me to focus on my training. What reason do you have this time?
The same one. You need to focus on your training, and knowing what I'm making will distract you.
You sound just like my father did.
To be fair, His Majesty didn't quite understand what he was training you to do when attempting to unlock your powers. I do know what I'm training you for, and you're making progress. Just wait, and you'll find out later.
Catching Zelda's disappointed gaze, he gave a light chuckle.
You'll find out soon enough, I promise. One thing at a time. This is one of those things that...
So it has to do with my training, this project of yours.
Maybe.
When he caught Zelda's curious eyes, he furrowed his brow.
Maybe.
Though his voice was stern, Zelda didn't seem put off in the slightest. In fact, she hummed curiously, taking another bite of her food, wondering what she would be learning later on. Shaking his head, Link returned to his food, yet after a few large bites, he suddenly asked a question.
His Majesty. Do you miss him?
Zelda's humming paused before she lowered her utensil, losing herself for a moment as she pondered Link's sudden question. Thoughtful, she looked down at her half-finished plate of food.
Of course I miss my father. I know we had a difficult relationship, but I loved him, and I know he loved me. He was simply doing what he thought was best for his kingdom, and what he thought was best for me. I know that now after having read his diary.
Right. Sorry for asking such a personal question. I hope that wasn't out of line.
Not at all. It's because of you that I know now my father's true feelings, having shown me his diary. It's strange. I believe I said it before, but it feels like so much time has passed for me, and yet, at the same time, it feels like the calamity happened only a few days ago. The loss of my father, the loss of the champions, it feels as though I've processed them already. Maybe it's because I heard their words and farewells after you freed each divine beast, or...
She glanced over at the weapons displayed in the wall racks. Her eyes traveled to each one before landing on the bejeweled scimitar.
It's possible the weight of losing them simply hasn't hit me yet. It's hard to tell. I still don't quite understand it myself.
I'm sorry again for bringing something like this up.
I told you, it's all right. I'm actually quite relieved we're talking about it. It was bound to come up at some point. And I'm glad it's like this.
Hearing this, Link gave a small smile.
Good. As long as you're all right.
He took another bite of food, his plate now almost empty. Though he wanted to press further, he felt as though he had already pressured her enough for now. While he continued to eat, Zelda felt a question forming in her mind. After a moment's hesitation, she chose to ask,
How do you feel? Do you miss your father?
My father?
Or your sister? You spoke about her quite a few times. You told me your family was from Ateno, if I'm not mistaken. Do you miss them?
I had a sister. Huh.
Instantly, Zelda's face fell, and it was clear after noticing this that Link regretted giving such an honest answer.
You don't remember her? What about your father?
Link hesitated, clearly wondering if now was the best time to be truthful. Meeting her eyes, he gave a light sigh.
I only remember what you said about him while sitting under the tree in the rain that day, talking about our paths. You mentioned he was a knight. I don't remember anything else about him, or anything about any other family I might have had.
Zelda's chest grew heavy, and it wasn't due to the achiness in her body. It was one thing to miss a family that was long gone. That was a feeling she knew well. But to not remember them at all? What else could he be missing? What other pieces of his life were taken away from him because of her failure to figure out her powers in time 100 years ago? As the thoughts continued to swirl, Link glanced up from his food after taking another bite, as if able to tell what kind of storm was beginning to rage inside Zelda's mind.
Hey, don't worry about it. It's okay. Really.
But your family, your history, it's all lost because...
It's lost because of the calamity, not because of you. Besides, I'm sure it'll come back to me someday.
How can you be so sure?
Because you came back to me. I remember you.
Zelda couldn't help but feel a slight burn on her cheeks. She glanced up into his eyes before looking away.
But you still only remember pieces. You don't remember everything about us. We spent so much time together and there's only so much you're able to regain. What if that's all you ever remember? What if you can only get fragments of your family memories back? What if you don't remember anything else beyond what you have?
Then I'll be okay with that. As weird as it is to say, it's hard to miss what I don't remember. I remember you, I missed you, and now I have you. I have a new life here, and while it's different from what I remember things being like before, it's home. Maybe I'll think differently when or if I remember, but right now, things are fine.
Unable to control herself, she looked into Link's azure eyes, who smiled at her when she did.
I'll tell you if I remember, and I'll tell you what I remember when I do. Memories came to me when I visited familiar places, and we plan to travel a lot later, right? I'm sure things will come back to me as time goes on.
I hope they do.
Guilt continued to fill her soul as she wished for what felt like the impossible. She spoke as if it were just the memories of his family she was concerned about, but she knew there was more she wanted to return. Deep down, she wished for the memories of the two of them to return in their entirety as well. The distance between them, she wanted it to close, just as they had closed it before. She could feel her desires boiling up, even after acquiring so much of what she had wanted in the past, like sleeping in the same bed and living together. It felt so immodest, and yet she wanted more. With his plate now empty, Link pushed it to the side.
Hey, come on, finish your food. We have a long day ahead of us.
More tree climbing, I presume?
Not today. We need to let those muscles rest and repair themselves. We'll be working on other parts of the body today, while also teaching you some more survival skills.
Such as using a weapon?
No.
Zelda's hopes crashed.
You'll see when we get there.
We're leaving Hateno.
Just headed to the outskirts. You'll see.
Curious about what plans Link had set for today, Zelda finished her food before pushing herself up from the chair. While she was still very sore, it did feel as though the breakfast Link cooked had healed her muscle and replenished some of her energy. After making a miserable trek back up the stairs, she opened the dresser drawers and pulled out her nightshade blue Hylian tunic, noticing just how soiled it still was. To think she was so tired the day before she hadn't thought to clean it even a little. Though it bothered her to wear a filthy tunic, she knew full well whatever training was to come would only dirty it further. Changing from her sleepwear into the tunic, she painfully made her way back down the stairs, where she found Link still at the table waiting for her, carving away at his wood. He looked up from his work and smiled before picking himself up from his seat.
All right, let's get moving.
He began to walk to the front door, and with a nod, Zelda followed. When they both reached the door, Link grabbed the handle and pulled, revealing the beautiful grassy fields and mountains of...
Well, hello there!
At the sudden flamboyant call, Zelda jolted in surprise while Link quietly groaned.
Yoo-hoo!
Looking around to find who had called out to them, Zelda quickly noticed two people sitting next to their cooking pot near the large tree in front of their home. One was an older man, dressed in fabulous furs with his face covered in blush, while the other was a much younger man who simply looked happy to be around.
Good morning, honey bunches.
Hey, Bolson.
Both he and Zelda stepped out into the grass. Though Zelda followed, she was still a bit confused as to who these two were and why they were visiting so early in the morning. As they walked to the tree, the man named Bolson stood, bringing a hand to his graying beard as he met them halfway. Upon their arrival, Bolson began to circle Zelda, looking her up and down.
Okay. Let's take a look-see here.
Bolson, what are you doing?
Well, seeing if all the gossip around town is true about her. Of course, I've met this one before, but she wasn't exactly awake at the time.
Excuse me?
Oh, you wouldn't remember. You were fast asleep.
He stopped in front of her and leaned a bit closer.
Oh, look at those beautiful eyes. Such wonder and excitement behind them. Such love and passion. You've got a good one here, hon.
Bolson, we talked about this.
Before he could finish, his words were quickly waved away.
Now, while I've met you, you haven't met me, have you? The name's Bolson, sweetheart, and I hear you're one named Marin,
Though she was still very confused, Zelda clasped her hands in front of her and gave a light nod.
Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you. Do you live here in Hateno?
I sure do. It's so lovely to have another neighbor in town. Usually I'd try to sell one of my new house designs, but I couldn't possibly separate the new couple in town, now could I?
New house designs. Oh, you're Bolson.
Only then did she realize that she and Link had been referred to as a couple, her cheeks burning in response, yet Bolson had already moved on. With a smile, he waved to Link in appreciation.
You told her about me? Oh, of course you told her about me. I'm the one who fixed this house up for Link and gave him quite the discount. He worked hard for it, though. It was very well deserved.
It's a wonderful house. I thank you for fixing it, especially since I now live there. I heard you also designed those colorful houses across the bridge. They're very beautiful.
Oh, so sweet. I love her already.
Hey, what do you mean we're the gossip of the town?
Oh, police! You didn't think you could bring a woman home and not have the town talking, did you? Link, the mysterious swordsman, brings a beauty to town with beautiful golden hair and wondrous emerald eyes. And then he takes her to the privacy of his home. Why, you should have seen it come in a region away, hun.
Well, when he puts it that way, it's not hard to imagine the gossip mongers would enjoy spreading such a tale.
Though Zelda seemed to have accepted the gossip, Link frowned.
They shouldn't be spreading anything. It's none of their business.
Come now, it isn't that bad. I don't mind it. I actually think it's quite cute.
Link grumbled, his face still slightly filled with frustration, though a light flush had appeared on his cheeks. Before Zelda could think too much about his reaction, a musical hum came from the carpenter. In response, she looked at him, noticing his intense gaze had once again been focused on her features. Bolson's inspection lasted a few moments before a smile came to him. Leaning toward her, he whispered in her ear.
It seems as though the rumors aren't so far-fetched. At least on your end now, are they?
Zelda's cheeks flushed violently, but before she could answer, Link spoke.
What are you saying, Bolson?
Nothing!
Taking a step back from Zelda's red face, Bolson gave her a mischievous grin.
We'll talk later, honey.
Though Link looked as though he wanted to protest, she quickly continued the conversation.
So speaking of talking, did you come just to see whom the gossip mongers were referring to?
Oh, no, sweetie. I'm here all the time.
All the time?
Every day. It's hard to pull me away from this view. It's far too wonderful.
Enthusiastically, the carpenter gestured toward the mountain range scenery.
It reminds me of what true beauty is and what one should aspire to be. I was only gone yesterday to give you two some privacy, to get settled together.
I see. And you truly mean every day?
He does. Hey, Bolson, we have to get going. We have some things to do.
Oh, don't let me hold you two lovelies. I'll be here until sunset as usual if you need me. Especially you, my dear.
He pointed at Zelda's nose before giving one of his toodaloos and walked back toward the cooking pot.
Is he really here every day?
Yep, he really is.
Well, he seems like a wonderful person, but how do I say this without sounding rude?
He can't stay there.
No, he can't. Is it spoiled of me not to want someone on our property at all times?
Not at all. That's a very normal person thing to want. Bolson, he's a great guy. I appreciate him for all the work he's done on the house and for the discounts he's given me, but I've been trying to get him to leave since even before you arrived. I've actually been trying for some time now.
At this, Zelda gave him a concerned look, which Link perceived. Running his fingers through his hair, he gave an uneasy laugh.
But I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll get him to recognize boundaries somehow.
Zelda couldn't help but hear the inadequate level of confidence in his voice.
For now, let's get our day started.
Together, they moved over to the stables, where Link pulled the gate to Epona's stall open, allowing the mare to exit. Upon their arrival, she shook her mane.
I'll be going riding.
Nope, not now at least. Maybe later though, depending on how exhausted you are. For now, she'll just follow us. We're walking after I load Epona up.
Load her up?
With my project. I still have things to do while you train. In fact, we might do a little pre-training right now. We don't want your arms getting too sore from little use. Why don't you come and help me load her up with the wood I gathered yesterday? I'm taking it with me.
Oh, yes.
She quickly came to regret her eagerness, though, for she soon realized that carrying such heavy wood from the backyard to the front did not help the soreness in her arms. Soon, Epona's load was strapped to her saddle, a bundle of sticks near the rear, a woodcutter's axe on the side, and, strangely enough, Link's paraglider. Though Zelda asked why the paraglider was coming along, Link simply told her it was needed before taking Epona by the reins and telling Zelda to follow. Giving an awkward wave to Bolson and Carson, who gave enthusiastic waves in return, the two guided the horse across the wooden bridge and past the display houses. Walking down the hill, they found themselves at the fork in the road, where they took the path entering into Hateno village. The town was just as it was the last time they had visited, small, with few villagers around, yet those who were out and about were as lively as ever. Children were running through the streets, some vendors were outside their shops trying to gain the attention of the rare traveler passing by, while others were tending to crops in the fields scattered around. Everything was the same, just simple and peaceful, which Zelda adored. They didn't get very far into the village before Link gently tugged Epona to a stop.
Why are we stopping? We're not training here in the middle of the road, are we?
That would be a sight to see if we were. I'm sure Amira and Nikki would have much to say about that.
He pointed to the clothing boutique where she had gotten her tunic.
I actually have to put in an order for something.
Are you getting a new tunic for yourself? To keep us hidden from the Yiga?
Nah, the Yiga clan knows what my face looks like, champion's tunic or not. The goal is to keep you hidden, not me. To them, you should look like a regular traveler.
Do you think that'll truly fool them? You don't believe just me being beside you would be enough of a clue?
With how goofy they can be, I'm hoping it isn't enough.
Goofy? You make them sound incompetent. Are you sure they're a threat these days if that's how they are?
Goofy doesn't mean incompetent. It means they're unpredictable, and honestly, I think it makes them more of a threat. That aside, can you keep an eye on Epona while I go in? Usually she'll stay nearby and graze, but the villagers get a little nervous when she's unattended.
Of course, but are you sure she'll listen to me? You know how I am with horses.
While Link was patting Epona's chestnut coat, Zelda gave the mare a nervous glance.
She'll listen, don't worry. Besides, she should stay in place if you stand next to her. I'll be back, alright?
Zelda couldn't tell if his farewell was to her or the mare, but before she could get clarification, Link had already disappeared inside the shop. She looked at Epona, who snorted in response before turning to watch the townsfolk, thoroughly enjoying the ambience of the peaceful hamlet. As farmers and families passed by, giving her a wave or quick hello as they did, Zelda soon noticed that she wasn't the only one people watching. From across the road, two middle-aged women stood together, one thin and tall, the other short and heavy-set, both holding baskets of clothes in their arms. At first, Zelda assumed they were having a simple conversation, yet that was quickly dispelled when she noticed their eyes repeatedly glance her way. Curious, Zelda hummed. Bolson did say she and Link were the talk of the town recently. Still, though it was highly likely she was their topic of discussion, Zelda couldn't help but feel as though the women's gazes were a bit disgruntled.
Excuse me? Miss?
Snapping out of her thoughts, Zelda looked down to see a little girl standing in front of her. She was a small child with pigtails, a wide face, and small eyes. If it weren't for the sweet tone of her voice, Zelda would have mistakenly believed she was upset. With a smile, she crouched down to the girl's level.
Hello there. May I help you with something?
Yeah, you're the girl who was with Link in front of Old Lady Porras.
Oh, yes, you were part of the group that stopped us that evening.
Yeah. So, you're really the girl Link is living with right now? Are you guys an item?
A what?
An item! That's what my mommy and her friend call you and Link when they talk about—
Nara!
Both Zelda and the little girl looked to see the shorter lady with the furious face yelling at them.
Have you been eavesdropping on my conversations again? Come here!
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Would you and Link play with us sometime? I'd love to catch bugs with you. I can show you how to catch them easily.
Sure, that'd be wonderful.
Nara!
I gotta go. Bye-bye.
Running off, the girl went to join her angry mother, who could be seen visibly scolding her upon arrival. Though she wished she wasn't being scolded, Zelda couldn't help but smile seeing the girl with her mother. Suddenly, the door to the boutique behind her opened. Turning, she watched as Link and the boutique owner walked out together, stopping just beside Epona's rear.
One of these, huh? Well, we can certainly make it. Looks like it's just a basic model, so it shouldn't be too hard. Generally, the dimensions for these are the same, but it's been so long since we've been asked to make one. The written instructions are probably buried under a mountain of who knows what somewhere inside. When do you need it?
Not for a while. 2 or 3 weeks at the earliest.
Oh, we'll have it ready by then. Give Sophie and me some time, and we'll have it ready for you as soon as possible.
Thanks, Selden. I appreciate the special order.
Anytime, my boy. Oh, good morning to you, Marin. Lovely day we're having.
A good morning to you as well. And it sure is.
Well, I better start searching for those dimensions. You two have a wonderful rest of your morning, you hear?
Both Link and Zelda waved in farewell as Selden returned to the boutique.
I'm assuming if I ask questions, I won't receive an answer.
Nope. Ready to go?
With a nod from Zelda, Link took Epona by the reins and then resumed their walk through the village. They passed houses and crossed rivers over the occasional stone or wooden bridge before heading up the winding mountain path. Zelda recognized the road from their previous walk through the town.
Link, this road leads through the pastures and up to Purras, doesn't it? Are we seeing her for training?
We are not. Especially after what you did last time.
After traveling a bit further up, they arrived at another fork in the road, where one path led up the mountain to Purras, while the other led down the mountain, with a sign standing between the divergence. He gestured toward the side pointing at the road heading opposite from the tech lab.
We are going down this one.
So we are leaving Cateno.
Kinda? Not really.
He gave Epona's reins a gentle tug to signal her to follow him.
It's still considered part of the village, just the outskirts. Down there is Hateno Beach.
A beach? We're visiting a beach?
I mean, kind of. It's not the greatest of beaches. It barely has any sand, and the waves are pretty small. Honestly, there's not much down there, but it's perfect for what we need.
Even after hearing Link's negative review of their upcoming destination, Zelda suddenly had a slight pep in her step. They descended the mountain, walking down the steep slopes of the winding path. Before long, Zelda could smell the salty sea air. She could hear the crashing of the waves in the distance and the plaintive cries of seagulls soaring above. As they drew nearer to the shore, she marveled at the natural beauty of the seemingly endless sparkling water of the sea, the puffiness of the clouds, and the gentle swaying of the tall palm trees in the light breeze. Excited, Zelda stepped out into the sand.
Oh, Link, this is wonderful. Are we really training here?
We are.
Still standing in the grass with Epona, he unclasped the load of sticks from the saddle. He glanced over at Zelda, smiling as he watched her look around in awe at the sand.
You seem excited for training today.
Oh, it'd be hard not to with a view like this. Do you remember the last time you and I went to the beach together?
I can't say that I do.
Immediately, he noted Zelda's crestfallen features.
But maybe it'll come back to me after a while. For now, let's focus on today's training. Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be with this soreness.
Chuckling, Link placed the sticks in the grass, along with the woodcutter's axe, before stepping out into the sand with her.
Okay, before anything, we're gonna try and loosen those stiff muscles up with some basic stretches. It should help with the soreness, so come stand in front of me and follow my lead, alright?
Alright.
For a time, the two simply stretched, with Zelda mimicking Link's actions. Reaching down to touch the toes of their boots, reaching up and behind their backs, and sitting in the sand to reach their toes again at different angles. Link seemed to have a vast knowledge of how to loosen the body up, though this didn't come as a surprise to Zelda. What was surprising was how easy she found these stretches to be, even the more advanced ones Link was having her do. She never knew she could be so flexible, and was even quite surprised to see how flexible Link was himself. As he continued to instruct her, putting her in a variety of different forms, Zelda felt calm, wonderful, in fact. Everything felt so tranquil and serene, with the beach ambience paired with Link's soft voice in her ears. This was a training session she could get used to.
How are you feeling? Are your muscles feeling a little bit better?
They do. I feel truly blissful like this. This is a training I believe I'll find myself enjoying.
Oh, this isn't the training.
It's not. I thought this was so we could loosen my muscles up for use.
Yeah, so you can use those other muscles I said you were training today.
With a chuckle, he pushed himself up to his feet.
If you feel good, that means the stretching helped, and the food probably kicked in. Let's begin the real training. Stand up, come on.
Nervously, Zelda also stood from the sand.
Alright, see that camp down there? The camp against the shore?
He pointed down to one end of the beach. Zelda looked toward where he'd indicated. In the distance, she could see the makings of a monster camp. After confirming that she could see it, Link continued.
I'm sure monsters have appeared over there after the most recent blood moon, but I'll handle them whenever I get the slate and my proper gear back. They shouldn't be too strong. Even the villagers are able to fend them off. They actually had a habit of stealing sheep, and well, Koyin wasn't too happy about that.
He chuckled before turning toward the other end of the beach.
So, for your training, we'll be staying over here. Now, do you see that rock in the ocean? The tall one that kind of looks like a pillar?
I do.
Great. I want you to run along the shore until you're aligned with that rock.
Zelda's eyes widened in disbelief.
All the way down there.
She stepped closer to the ocean, some of the seawater washing over her boots as she looked down the shoreline to where Link wanted her to run.
But some of the shore doesn't even have sand. I see stone and deeper ocean water.
Yep. It'll be long, a little slippery, and very wet. Perfect to practice traversing harsh terrain.
Suddenly, this training felt very similar to the previous one.
We want to get you used to running in case something ever happens, and we also want to make sure you can run for a good amount of time. You'd be surprised how fast a bokoblin is.
With a satisfied smile, he clapped his hands together.
All right, get to it.
Aren't you at least going to run with me?
Oh no, I have things to do.
He pointed toward his pile of sticks.
I'll be watching your progress from here, but there shouldn't be any monsters. I took care of any Octoroks earlier this morning, so it's safe.
Zelda frowned. It wasn't the safety of the beach that concerned her. She wanted to train with him, especially after the enjoyment of simply stretching with him just a few moments earlier. Regardless, she took a deep breath and stepped forward, beginning to mentally prepare herself.
Make sure to keep a good pace. Try to walk as little as possible. I want to see you try and run the entire way. I'd suggest a light jog to start off.
With a nod in response, Zelda began jogging her way down the shore, moist clumps of sand kicking up behind her. As she ran, Link returned to the grass, grabbing one of the sticks while he pulled his knife from his pouch. Moving back to the sand, he sat down, crossing his legs to help prop up the wood. Glancing up at Zelda's retreating figure, he then surveyed the ocean, ensuring that he had completely cleared out the aquatic monsters before returning part of his focus on shaving the wood. The run was just as miserable as Zelda expected it to be. After a while, her breaths became gasps, the pounding of her soles upon the sand vibrated through her body, and the rhythmic swaying of her arms was unpleasant. It was even worse when running through the water. Her legs froze when she stepped in, the cold water rising to her thighs as she trudged along, seaweed catching in the creases of her boots, and her toes kicking against what she hoped were rocks. Eventually, she reached the part of the shore aligned with the stone pillar rising from the sea. Instantly, Zelda dropped to her knees, coughing as she struggled to catch her breath. She had succeeded in jogging the entire way, if trudging through the water didn't count, but now it felt like her legs would fall off. Still, she twisted her waist, looking back at the distance she had covered. She groaned. Now she had to run back, and she was sure that the longer she knelt in the sand, the more Link would judge her. With a heave, she pushed herself to her feet again and began to jog back, her speed much slower than before. It took twice as long for her to return to the starting point, where she practically crashed into the sand in front of Link's crossed legs. She could feel the sand slipping into her tunic, and she knew that sand and whatever else was in the ocean was sticking to her drenched trousers. Any tranquility or peacefulness she had felt earlier had completely vanished. Exhausted, she lay sprawled in the sand, desperately trying to catch her breath as Link began to talk, still shaving away at his wood.
You did well. That actually wasn't too bad. You stopped at the end there, but that'll get better with time.
Zelda groaned. She knew he had judged her for taking a breather.
Take a few minutes break, and then you'll move on to something else.
Something else?
Yeah, the running was just a warm-up. Your days will start with a run from now on, no matter what we do, just to bring your endurance up. The rest of your training today will be in the water.
In the water?
Yeah, you'll be working on your swimming skills today. That's the goal.
Excuse me, did you say swimming?
That's what I said. You know how to swim, right?
Of course I know how to swim.
With a tired cough, she managed to push herself up.
Which begs the question as to why I need training on this. Climbing training I can understand in hindsight, but I already know how to swim.
Yes, but can you swim in rushing rivers? And even if you can, do you have the stamina to stay afloat long enough to make it to the other side?
Link, answer me honestly. How likely is it that we'll find ourselves in a situation requiring us to swim across a rushing river?
You'd be surprised. I could tell you quite a few stories of how I almost drowned, and I've almost drowned a lot. This is another aspect of traveling off the road. You never know where monsters could appear from, and sometimes they'll back you into a corner, or in this case, a river. You could be accidentally knocked into the water, or the river is a possible escape route. Heck, if you were flying with your paraglider and your arms got tired, you'd end up falling into the river.
Was that example from your own experience?
They all were. I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again. Any skill I teach you is important. Climbing, running, swimming, they all matter.
Groaning, Zelda looked out into the ocean waves.
I don't have anything to swim in. And even if I did, I have nowhere to change. I know we're on the outskirts of town, but changing out here still seems a little...
Who said anything about changing?
What? You expect me to swim in the ocean in my everyday clothes? Link, this is a new tunic.
And it's only the first of what will soon be many. We aren't living in luxury, Zelda. Tunics are gonna get worn out, torn, soiled, and everything else under the sun. Monsters aren't gonna pause and wait for you to change into suitable swimwear. You need to be prepared to swim in regular clothing. And swimming in what you're currently wearing isn't as easy as you think it would be.
And you still won't be joining me.
Project. Besides, I'm still on guard duty. I need to keep an eye on you and what might be around in case something happens. And, be ready on the off chance you actually almost drown.
I'm not a child, Link.
When you feel rested, get in the water. I want you to swim for as long as possible. No cheating either. Get deep enough to where your feet don't touch the sand.
With a sigh, Zelda pushed herself into a sitting position in the sand, her breathing still a bit heavy. After a few minutes, she pushed herself up and began to walk toward the shoreline, stopping once the waves occasionally covered her boots. She inched into the water, waiting so as not to experience the same freeze she had felt in her legs when running. But before the water could even reach her calves, Link called out to her again.
Don't do that. Jump in.
Jump in! Just like that. Link, it's freezing out there.
And you'll warm up against a fire later. Monsters aren't going to wait for you to get comfortable.
Ugh!
Disappointed, she looked down at the water covering her boots. The leather around her feet already felt cold, having just barely started to adjust.
If you don't jump, I might have to come push you in.
Instantly, Zelda twisted her body to look back at him, a glare in her eyes as she squinted in doubt.
You wouldn't dare. You're far too knightly.
I'd classify it under Princess's orders to be trained. If I'm to train you, I'll do it right. Now get in the water.
Pinching the ends of her tunic, she turned back to the water. After taking a few quick, fortifying breaths, she forced herself to dash into the waves before jumping in, her head going beneath the ocean's surface. It felt as though her entire body had turned to ice. Her body rolled through the water, tumbling against the sea floor before she finally adjusted. With a single stroke, her head burst up from out of the water, gasping for air the moment she breached. Taking shuddering breaths as she acclimated to the cold, she raised a hand and quickly brushed her matted wet hair out of her eyes before looking around. Readjusting her inner compass, she located the beach and then Link.
What am I supposed to do now? Am I to just tread here?
Yep, for as long as possible.
Accepting the simplicity of his instructions, she continued to tread, kicking her legs back and forth while sculling her arms. It wasn't long before all her limbs grew tired. She tried swimming back and forth, occasionally diving every now and then for the natural buoyancy to give her a break, yet eventually her limbs felt like stone. She could feel her body slowly sinking down into the water, despite the attempt to kick her legs faster.
Come back. I can see you struggling to stay above water. Swim back to shore.
She swam back, her strokes now far more messy than they had been originally. When she arrived back at the beach, water poured from her body and her tunic and undershirt stuck uncomfortably to her figure. Moist sand covered her palms and knees as she crawled out of the water, eventually collapsing next to Link once more.
Good work. Take a few minutes and then head back out there. This is what the rest of our day is looking like.
Coughing, Zelda groaned.
The entire day?
Until you feel you might actually drown if you continue. You need to learn your body's abilities and how to understand what it means when you're really running out of energy. Recognizing that feeling of when your muscles are ready to quit on you allows you to use your stamina more efficiently. It also allows you to prepare your day knowing how long you have to work.
He lifted his wood, inspecting its shape and smoothness before continuing.
Pushing yourself to the brink like this also makes you stronger. The more you do, the longer you'll be able to last later on. Besides, it wouldn't really be training if you weren't pushing yourself. We have to see what your current limits are so we can work to improve them. With that being said, when you're ready, head back out there. Don't take too long, though, otherwise I'll make you go.
Shivering, Zelda slowly pushed herself to her feet, knowing full well she wasn't getting out of this. With a tired breath, she turned and waddled uncomfortably back to the ocean, where she continued to almost drown for the rest of the day. As the orange glow of sunset painted the sky, the sound of Epona's hooves echoed up the mountain as they followed the winding paths back to town. Guiding her by the reins, Link looked at the saddle on her back, where an exhausted Zelda lay draped, her sand and seaweed-covered body against Epona's mane.
Don't worry, girl. I'll clean your mane tonight.
Gently, he patted the side of the mare's neck. In response, the mare blew air through her nostrils.
Thank you for carrying her. She had a rough day.
Epona gave a small whinny in response, which made Link smile. As they walked, he glanced back at the woman sleeping in the saddle. He would have to wake her when they arrived home, for there was no way she'd accept sleeping in such disgusting clothing. Still, he was sure she would appreciate the rest before having to move, wash, and do whatever else she needed before bed. His pace was slow, keeping Epona at a steady walk. As they progressed up the path, he looked back at Zelda's resting body.
You did well. You were able to run across the shore and back without stopping, even if your jog was slow. You even managed to stay in the water much longer than I expected. You truly are amazing, Zelda.
Despite his inner praise, the smile on his face slowly disappeared. Even if that were true, Hyrule was still leagues above what it once was in their original time, and she wasn't as durable as he was. No other Hylian was built like Link, and yet the monsters were still a danger even to him. Would she truly be safe, even if she was doing this well? With this in mind, he continued his trek up the path, guiding his horse back into the village of Hateno. The moon rose high above the mountains of Necluda, shining its white light down on the grass where Zelda now sat. With a bucket beside her, dressed in her tattered sleepwear, she sat in front of the pond behind their house across the bridge, looking down at her ocean-ruined tunic. With a groan, she dunked the tunic into the bucket of pond water before pulling it up and wringing it out.
If this is how training and life is going to be every day, I'm going to need a few more tunics to get by.
She had called out tiredly to Link, who was currently feeding the flames of their cooking pot with spare wood.
We can get you more. I'd get used to getting and being dirty, though. You aren't gonna stay as clean as you were in the castle being out here.
Well, I can still certainly try and get as close as possible. Ugh, my hair still feels heavy and slimy. In fact, I felt dirty all over for the past few days since I haven't taken a bath recently. Actually, now that I think about it, does this house even have a bath?
Well, about that. No, it doesn't.
It doesn't have a bath?
She turned around, her brow creased with incredulity.
Where do you usually bathe? Don't tell me you haven't bathed since you awoke from your slumber.
No, I bathe, but, I usually do so there.
It took Zelda a moment to realize that he was pointing at the pond behind her.
The pond. You bathe in the pond. Wait, do you expect me to bathe in this?
Honestly, I don't have another solution. I wish I did, believe me, but I don't.
It's out in the open. It'd be one thing if we were in the wild, but we're near a town.
Link guiltily shrugged.
Welcome to normal life, Zelda, where things are a little dirtier and bathing isn't much better. It's late, so no one will stop by. If you'd like, I can guard the bridge, kinda how I used to back in the day when we were out traveling.
No. No. You're not my knight anymore. I can't ask you to do that.
I wouldn't mind.
It's fine, I promise. When you finish cooking and go inside, I'll bathe. Do you swear no one will arrive? Not Borson, not anyone?
No one will arrive, I promise. Otherwise, I would have been caught long ago.
All right. I trust you. Will we be training again tomorrow?
We will. A run and then more tree climbing. Those sets of muscles should be ready to work again after another night's rest.
Can we go shopping together for more tunics in the morning before we start? Maybe get a few other necessities for the house. I wanted to take a peek at the Eastwind General Store, if that's all right.
Of course. Bruce runs the general store. He's a nice guy, and I think you'll like him. We'll get up bright and early to shop for our needs, alright?
At this, a smile appeared on Zelda's face.
All right. Oh, and make sure you clean those wood shavings up tonight. They're still in a pile on the floor.
I will.
Cheerfully, the night continued on, with food, cleaning, and a highly uncomfortable bath for Zelda. The bath, she knew, was most certainly something that would take her quite a while to get used to.
Oh, hey there! Thank y'all for coming to watch the 10th year episode of The Legend of Zelda: Cup of the Wild. It's a real honor we're able to make it this far, and we plan to keep going strong. If you want to keep supporting us, make sure you like the video and subscribe. And if you want to go the extra mile, we have a Patreon you can follow. You can find that link in the description below. Thank y'all again for enjoying the series, and we hope to see you in the next episode. Take care now.